It is 48 days to the 2023 general election. Good afternoon and welcome to Standpoint. I am Precious Amayo. Now, Adamawa State is the home of the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party. It is also the home of the wife of the president of the country. But what are his chances in his home state, and that's Atiku Abubakar? We know that candidates have been going around in that state trying to sort of campaign to voters. It is almost like a do-or-die affair because Atiku has to prove that he can win his state. And APC is also geared up to take that state. Now, where APC is gaining grounds in that state after the governorship candidate of the APC, Aishatu Binani, was reinstated by the appeal court in Yola. Now, with this settled, what is the chances of the incumbent Amadu Fintiri of the PDP and the APC governorship candidate, Aishatu Binani? To talk about this is the Director General, Media and Communications to the Governor of Adamawa State, Solomon Kumanga. And also joining me is the Secretary, the Public Committee of the APC Presidential Council in Adamawa State. Good to have you, both of you gentlemen. All right, let me begin with Mr. Solomon Kumanga, who I'm guessing you are the, let me begin with the APC, the Secretary of the APC Presidential Council, Public Committee rather. We understood some time ago that Amadu Fintiri he denied President Buhari the use of the Ribadu Square, but we're also hearing now that that was for the governorship campaign, flag off of the governorship campaign. But we hear that that has been settled. What more can you tell us about that?
Well, to begin with, I would want to say it's the issue of settled is just an afterthought by the state government and the state governor, probably after the back and forth about the approval for the venue. Actually, the governor decided, because of what he feels, probably to safeguard himself and to protect himself from getting the votes that he thinks he was going to get in the general election, by giving the Presidential Campaign Council the approval to use the venue on the 18th, they denied the state governorship candidate from using the venue on the 9th. And then after all the back and forth, again, the two campaign rallies were fused together to hold on the 9th because President Muhammadu Buhari obliged the governorship candidate that he was going to be in the flag off of the governorship candidate and then the governor decided later on to say he is going to allow the venue to be used on the 9th. So I don't know the rationale which he used after officially writing to the chief of staff in the State House in Abuja to say that the venue will not be available on the 9th, and they gave an excuse that he cannot guarantee the president's security outside the Ribadu Square, which he thinks is more secured. But here you are talking to the commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces. So when you're talking about security, he should have more info from security agencies to know where he is secured and where he's not secured. But to give that as an excuse is just to find a flimsy excuse to be able to deny the governorship candidate the venue. But I think if what the state government said, that extensive work is going on at the Ribadu Square, which is not going to permit them to allow the governorship candidate to use the venue, and they are going to hasten work to finish it on the 18th, then what has changed between the 2 days to be able to allow the APC to use the venue on the 9th? So actually, the APC governorship candidate decided that Ribadu Square is out of the issue. The venue that was gotten as a substitute is going to be used for the flag off on the 9th, and the president is going to be at that venue and not Ribadu Square, so they can go ahead with the construction work and the repairs they are undertaking at the Ribadu Square.
But let me ask you, because the reason that was given for the initial denial or rejection of the use of that venue is that it is under renovation. Is Ribadu Square under renovation or not?
I think the work that is going on is that of drainages. The main structure and the schematics of the Ribadu Square is not affected. And I want to let you know, for those who know Adamawa State very well, the VIP entrance that is facing the deputy governor's office gate is just they are facing each other. That gate has not been tampered with. That gate can still be accessed by the VIPs. And the other gates that the construction work is going on of drainages, that gate can also be used if the government wants it to be used. And I wanted to let you know that that same venue was used by the governor the night of 31st into the 1st to do the New Year celebration. That same venue was used on the 1st by some artists to celebrate the New Year. So between that point and the 7th, the government is giving an excuse that the construction worker, the company, is going to resume work on the 7th. And so the venue cannot be available on the 9th because work is going to be ongoing at that point. So what has changed? My question is, what has changed in these 2 days? Is the governor still suspending the construction company from resuming work? If that is so why was that concession not given to the governorship candidate until the president is not available for the 18th and is coming on the 9th? And all of a sudden, there is a U-turn that the venue is going to be available on the 9th. And I think that is the rationale why the organization of the governorship campaign decided that we should stick to the alternative venue that we've gotten, not to be toyed around with, because the government cannot be trusted. They can still go ahead on the eve of Sunday night to tell us that the venue is not going to be available on the night. So we are not ready to be stranded. So the alternative venue is more secure, is owned by a member of APC. It is owned by one of the House of Reps candidates of APC. And work, as I'm talking to you now, work has gone advanced stage to make the venue ready. And the venue will be ready by tomorrow for the flag off both of the presidential campaign and the governorship campaign on Monday.
Just to be clear, you are not holding your campaign at the Ribadu Square.
Ribadu Square is out of it. We are not holding it at Ribadu Square.
I would get the conversation to just a minute, Mr. Dixon. I will bring the conversation to Mr. Kumanga in just a moment. But we need to just let our viewers know that we'll be joining the APC rally live in Ondo State while this conversation will continue on other platforms.
Hey, if you want, we want. See, everybody vote for Adamawa. Hey, come on.
All right, so Mr. Kumanga, you've heard all that Mr. Dixon have said about these allegations and the denial of the use of the Ribadu Square. What's your response to that? I want to be sure that we still have Mr. Solomon Kumanga on the line. All right. We understand that he's still working on the settings of his because we're speaking to him virtually as well, so he's still trying to fix the settings just so we can see him clearly. But let me stay with you, Mr. Dixon. I was asking earlier if you were saying, sorry I interrupted you, because you were saying that the Ribadu Square, you are no longer going to use the Ribadu Square, because the information we had earlier was that the governor has now approved the Ribadu Square. But you are saying that, did you get the approval but chose the alternative?
We are not taking that. We are not taking that. We've already shifted to the alternative position venue, and we are using the alternative venue. So the reason that he gave for the construction to go on at the Ribadu Square, let the construction company go on. We have an alternative venue that is conducive. The capacity is okay. It is secured, and it is very, very comfortable for the APC rally to take place without any breach. So I think the governor can go ahead and continue his construction at the Ribadu Square.
All right. So we'll have Mr. Kumanga. We will allow him to respond to that. But you are, I mean, your candidate, Aisha Binani, have been reinstated by the court. She will now be running in this election. But there are those who say that, look, the Adamawa state has always been a PDP state. APC had it just for one term, and that was in 2015. And it went back to the PDP. And perhaps this is a wild goose chase for the PDP. For the APC, rather. How would you respond?
Saying that probably to satisfy their paymasters, or they are talking on and not knowledgeable background, because APC is very, very formidable and it is strong in Adamawa State. Let me take you back a little bit. If APC is not in control or does not have a formidable force and followership in Adamawa State, between the last elections, when we know that the reasons are obvious that brought in the PDP government, it is not because APC did not get the required votes to win the election, but it is the internal crisis in the APC that gave that opportunity for the PDP to come in. So they were just holding brief for the APC. And between that time and now, the governor had come out on several occasions and have publicly and arrogantly said that he has killed APC in Adamawa State and there's no opposition in Adamawa State. If there is no opposition and there is no APC, why is he denying or refusing the governorship candidate the venue? Because he knows that the kind of massive followership and the phenomenon that is going along with the Binani movement is one that is going to shake the very foundations of the seat where he is sitting. And so he was scared of that and he decided to deny the venue. But we got an alternative venue that is of equal standard and capacity to match the crowd that is going to converge at Ribadu Square if we were to use Ribadu Square. So APC had become stronger between that time and now that we're going into elections. So if it were a PDP state, you should know that by this time, that wouldn't have been APC. But APC had become stronger. APC has sent jittery and fears into the nerves of the governor and the PDP in Adamawa State. And that is why you see them trying to use inequitable and standards that are not supposed to be used in politicking to cause disharmony in the state and then to deny the governorship candidate from using venue. If not, why will the state government give approval for the presidential candidate to have his rally at Ribadu Square and refuse the governorship candidate of the same party the right to use Ribadu Square? Then you should know that it is a deliberate attempt to cause disharmony and to cause friction within the APC ranks, because that has always been the prayer and the anticipation of the PDP government so that they can win elections, because they know that it was that kind of disharmony that brought them into power in 2019. But to their disappointment, APC had continued to mend fences, APC had continued to build bridges, and APC had continued to come together in unity to form a force that is ready to take over the government in Adamawa State by May 29, 2023.
So let me put you on hold. We'll take a break. When we return, hopefully we'll have Mr. Solomon Kumanga on the line. And if we don't, we'll just continue the conversation with you. You're watching Standpoint. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Standpoint. We're still talking local politics there in Adamawa, as there is a showdown is set in that state for the governorship election. We know that the presidential candidate of the PDP is from Adamawa State, but the wife of the president is also from Adamawa State, and so it looks like there is a showdown. The president is supposed to be there sometime next week, I think it is, for the flag off of the governorship campaigns in that state. And we have with us, talking about politics in that state, we have Martins Yanathan Dixon. He's the secretary at Adamawa State Media, APC, PCC, that's the APC Presidential Campaign Council. We also have with us the Director General, Media and Communications to the Governor of Adamawa State, Solomon Kumanga. But Mr. Kumanga seems to be having a challenge with his settings on Zoom because he's joining virtually. Hopefully, he joins before the end of the conversation. But we'll continue with Mr. Dixon. Mr. Dixon, you were saying earlier that it seems that the governor is scared of the following of Mrs. Aisha Binani. But we know that the president will be at the flag off of that campaign. Is that necessarily her supporters that will be there, or those who are turning up for the president?
That is a very sensitive and a tricky question indeed, but it is good to be clear. I want to let you know that if you will follow the trend of events, you find out that on the very day that, let me say the next day, after the Court of Appeal upheld her candidature for the All Progressives Congress, within 24 hours, the candidate decided, okay, she's going to come into the state. The crowd that was seen receiving her at the airport to the party secretariat in the state was overwhelming. That was unbelievable. And it has to draw the attention of the state government, because to me, I was surprised that just the coming in of the candidate after the Court of Appeal judgment, and then the state government found it a worthy cause to respond and to even say that the crowd were hired, the crowd were paid to be there. Now, I want to let you know that even if the crowd are to be paid, if you don't have the goodwill with your money, nobody will turn out to receive you. And within 24 hours, people that heard about the judgment and that the candidate was going to come in came in to show their support, drove themselves into the state capital to receive her. So Binani has a large followership. It is a movement. The Binani candidature is a movement in Adamawa State. It is not just a political process to elect a government, but people are seeing that their lives are going to be better. Her antecedents are beginning to tell on the common man on the street, because people are beginning to shift their trust to her because they know from what she has done in the past that she'll be able to take care of the welfare of the people as much as put in lasting and sustainable development plans that will take care of the system in Adamawa State, and not just for a period of 4 years, but the people of the state are going to enjoy that. So people who are coming in are people who love APC. They are APC supporters. They are supporters of Binani and supporters of Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So there is no differentiating. But I want to let you know that the people who love Binani and are supporting Binani are going to turn out in their masses. You can have your crew on ground to do a crowd analysis of the people that are going to be gathered, and I believe that you're going to have a positive result that you're going to tell Nigerians and Adamawa people after that.
But does she have enough crowd to win this election? Bearing in mind that you have the power of incumbency. Ahmadu Fintiri is still the governor. He's of the PDP. And then you also know that the presidential candidate of the PDP is from that state, Atiku Abubakar. People say that, look, he's a formidable force in that state as well. So does your candidate have enough support on ground to upturn this election?
The APC candidate, Senator Aisha Tudair Binani, has the support and has the capacity and the followership to win this election. Crowd does not win election. We have people who have their PVCs who are ready to change this government and ensure that Senator Binani becomes the governor. Yes, quite of course, the PDP presidential candidate is from Adamawa State, but I want you to know that even within the PDP ranks, there are people who are supportive of Binani who know that her candidature is going to be for the good of Adamawa State rather than supporting the PDP governorship, the PDP governor who is on seat at the moment. And I want you to know, do not forget that it is not the popular vote that brought in Right Honorable Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri into government as governor. It was the crisis, the internal disagreements within the APC that brought him into government in 2019. And that those fences have been mended. And the phenomenon of Binani is taking care of those loopholes. So he does not have the advantage of the internal crisis that he had in 2019 to sustain his hold on power. So APC is coming back to take forth that which really belongs to them. The people who are supporters of APC with their PVCs refused to leave the party, stayed with the party. For these 4 years, nobody went anywhere. Just a few hungry people decided to collect money and say they are decamping. But you have not heard of any significant person in the last 1 year that is saying he's leaving the APC to join the PDP. Why? Because they are not comfortable with the governor, and the governor does not have that followership and that command. But Binani has that followership, and everybody knows, and that is why the governor is already jittery. Remember that immediately Binani emerged as the APC governorship candidate, the governor went forth to bring in a woman will be his deputy. Why did he quickly change his deputy governor to a woman? He was thinking he's going to buy in the votes of the women. But no, Binani is not the deputy governorship candidate he brought in a hurry in order to get the votes of the women cannot match the followership of Binani, cannot match the command of the kind of people ready with their voters card to vote in Binani. So that is not going to work for him. You can see that it is just a responsive strategy that the government has always been putting in place. The PDP government has always been putting in place in order to stop the APC candidate from winning the election. But that is not going to work. Binani is winning this governorship election square.
And you don't think that the influence of the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, will work in the favor of the PDP in that state?
No. The influence is Atiku Abubakar is different from Right Honorable Amadou Umaru Fintiri. And even right within the PDP ranks, there are people who are not supporting the governorship candidature of Right Honorable Amadou Umaru Fintiri. So that influence is not going to work for him. We know what is on ground. We know the work we are doing on ground. And then Binani is going to have that massive support. So hiding behind Atiku Abubakar is not going to give him that massive vote that he thinks he's going to have. And if the governor is comfortable with the incumbency factor and he's comfortable with the candidature of the presidential candidate of the PDP, why is he responsive in his strategy and trying to be inequitable in trying to deny the APC candidature some certain privileges that as a citizen and have APC members as citizens of Adamawa State have the right to? And so you can see where the whole issue is. He is already G3. He already knows that he's losing ground. And we're going to get the votes right from within the PDP and right all the APC ranks. We're going to get the votes and win the governorship election this year.
When you say that Atiku Abubakar is different from the governor, Amadou Fintiri, it's almost a saying that 6 is different from half a dozen, because I'm very sure that Atiku Abubakar would also want to win his state. It would be a matter of almost like, I don't want to use the word disgrace to him, if it's said that he lost his state in the gubernatorial election. So you don't think that he too would also be working really hard to ensure that he delivers that state? And then I also want to ask you about your chances in the presidential election in Adamawa State as well.
Yes, you know, he is working round the clock to see that he wins Adamawa State as a presidential candidate. But I want to let you know that there is. Let me come out clear now. There are crises and internal wrangling within the PDP, and the governor knows it, that he's not getting the support of a lot of people within the PDP ranks who are supportive of Atiku Abubakar. And that is why we are sure and we know that we are going to get those votes, because they've not been able to mend those fences. And those people who the governor has stepped on their toes and have offended have vowed to support the candidature of the APC to ensure that the APC, coming with its goodwill and its antecedents, take over the state and continue the good work that it has been doing. And I want to let you know that despite the fact that the presidential candidate of the PDP comes from Adamawa State, the APC presidential candidate has large followership and have large supporters in APC. There is nobody from APC with all their PVCs and their support for the All Progressives Congress that are going to vote for Atiku Abubakar, even though he's coming from the state. So it is going to be a very tough fight, but I want to assure you that there is large followership for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and there is large followership for Senator Aissatou Dahiru Binani. So the votes are going to be clear when the ballots are being casted.
All right, we have our eyes in Adamawa State as well. We're monitoring events there as well. Monitoring events all around the country. Thank you so much for talking to us. We wish we would have had a response from Mr. Solomon Kumanga, but he couldn't join us. Thank you very much for talking to us. The Adamawa State.
Maybe next time he will be able to come on so that we can have a really robust and engaging conversation.
We will have both of you again. Thank you so much for talking to us, Mr. Martins, Jonathan Dixon.